You ever noticed how some older men walk into a room and instantly change the atmosphere? They don't chase attention, they command it, without saying a word. Younger women feel that pull, not because of wealth or looks, but because of something deeper: composure, confidence, and quiet mystery. There's a flirtatious edge in the way they carry themselves, subtle, unforced, and powerful. See, younger men try to impress. They talk too much, joke too much, and chase validation. But an older man who's mastered himself doesn't need to perform. His calm energy does the work for him. He flirts without even trying, through silence, steady eye contact, and presence. It's not about tactics or pick-up lines. It's psychology, how women naturally respond to grounded masculine energy. So in this video, we're breaking down the 7 subtle flirting tricks older men use to spark real attraction, the kind that lingers long after the conversation ends. Let's get started. Flirting trick number 1, the power of presence. You ever noticed how some older men don't need to say a word, yet the whole room feels their energy? That's not luck, that's presence. And it's one of the most powerful, underrated flirting tricks out there. Most men today can't even sit across from a woman without checking their phone, fidgeting, or nervously trying to fill every silence. But an older man is different. He's lived enough life to understand that real presence, calm, grounded attention, is what truly pulls a woman in. When he speaks, he takes his time. When she talks, he listens, not with that desperate, hungry look most guys have, but with quiet confidence. That kind of presence says, "I'm not here because I need you. I'm here because I choose to be." And psychology backs this up. Women aren't drawn to men who give constant attention, they're drawn to men who give intentional attention. A man who can hold eye contact without flinching, who listens without needing to respond right away, that creates something powerful, safety and tension at the same time. See, the calmer you are, the more tension she feels. Because real attraction isn't born from excitement, it's born from controlled restraint. You can fake confidence. You can fake charm. But presence? That can't be faked. She feels your energy before she even processes your words. That's why an older man can sit quietly in a crowded room and still be magnetic. Presence isn't passive, it's power under control. And in a world where every man is shouting to be noticed, the one who stays silent, yet fully grounded, becomes unforgettable. So remember this, the first flirting trick isn't in your words. It's in your silence, and the confidence behind it. Flirting trick number 2, the power of contrast. Here's something most younger men completely overlook: attraction thrives in contrast. See, younger guys often think flirting means constantly entertaining a woman, showering her with compliments, explaining themselves too much, or trying to prove how interesting they are. But older men? They play a different game. They understand that mystery isn't built by doing more, it's built by doing less. An older man flirts through rhythm, a balance of warmth and distance, interest and restraint. He'll give her just enough to make her lean in and then he'll pull back. It's not manipulation. It's art. Like a beautiful song, what makes it powerful isn't the non-stop sound, but the pauses, the beats, and the silence in between. Psychologists call this the intermittent reinforcement effect. When something feels unpredictable, it becomes addictive. Casinos use it to keep people playing. But in attraction, it keeps her guessing. A woman doesn't crave a man who gives her constant validation. She craves the man who makes her earn it, and then rewards her with something subtle, a half smile, a slow glance, or a clever remark that lingers in her mind long after. Picture this: she teases you, expecting you to react like every other guy. But instead, you pause. You let a small grin form. And you say something that acknowledges her and challenges her at the same time. That moment burns into her memory because it's rare. It's unpredictable. But here's the secret: this kind of teasing only works when you're completely fine with her not liking you. That's the difference. Younger men chase approval. Older men don't need it. Because true confidence isn't about trying to win her over. It's about being okay if you don't. And that's exactly what makes her want you even more. Flirting trick number 3, the power of slowed down presence. Here's what most younger men completely miss: speed kills attraction. A younger guy rushes through his words, checks his phone, and fidgets in silence. He's chasing the moment instead of owning it. But an older man? He carries time differently. He moves slower, speaks with weight, and lets silence do the talking. That calm control shifts the entire dynamic. Psychology backs this up. Studies show that slower speech and measured pauses are linked to confidence, authority, and composure. Think about it: when a nervous intern rambles in a meeting, no one listens. But when a CEO pauses, waits, and then speaks, the whole room leans in. That's not coincidence. That's presence. Now picture this: she's talking fast, teasing, testing, trying to pull you into her tempo. Most guys take the bait, they match her speed. But not you. You lean back, make eye contact, and speak slowly and deliberately. Without even realizing it, she starts to slow down too. Her energy adjusts to yours. That's when you know she's in your frame, not the other way around. See, women don't consciously think he's calm, so I'm attracted. But they feel it. They sense that a man who doesn't rush, who's completely at ease in silence, is a man who's in control of himself and of the moment. Speed signals insecurity. Slowness signals certainty. You're not chasing validation, you're choosing your pace. You're the mountain, steady, grounded, immovable. And mountains don't move for anyone, they invite others to rise to meet them. That's the quiet power older men master, not through words, but through the rhythm behind them. They don't just speak. They command time. And that's what makes their presence magnetic. Flirting trick number 4, the subtleties of withholding validation. Most younger men sabotage themselves. They overgive. Too many compliments. Too much laughter. Too much approval. They think constant validation builds connection, but it doesn't. It kills mystery. At first, she'll smile, sure. But over time, it becomes predictable, safe, even boring. Because when you validate her too much, she stops wondering about you. And once the wondering stops, so does the attraction. An older man understands this instinctively. He's learned that real chemistry isn't built through chasing, it's built through tension. The kind of tension that keeps her just a little uncertain, just a little intrigued. Picture this: she teases you, expecting the usual eager response, maybe a compliment or a laugh. But instead, you pause. You let the silence hang. Maybe you smirk, tilting your head slightly, as if deciding whether her joke was even worth a reaction. And when you do finally respond, it's short, dry, and maybe even playfully dismissive. That's when the spark ignites. Not because you gave her validation, but because you didn't hand it over so easily. Psychologically, this works because of scarcity. Humans crave what feels rare, unpredictable, and just out of reach. When your attention feels abundant, it loses value. But when it's selective, when she has to earn it, it becomes magnetic. And here's the key: this isn't about being cold or manipulative. It's about self-respect. A man who respects himself doesn't give his validation to everyone. He treats his attention like a luxury item, rare, intentional, and meaningful. That's why older men are so captivating. They don't withhold out of arrogance, they do it out of discipline. Because they know their energy has worth. And that difference between the man who gives too much and the man who gives selectively is the difference between fast food and fine wine. One you forget instantly. The other you savor because it's rare, refined, and unforgettable. Flirting trick number 5, the power of controlled silence. Most men never understand silence, when used right, is one of the most powerful flirting tools you have. See, most guys panic when a conversation goes quiet. They rush to fill the gap with small talk, jokes, or explanations, anything to keep her attention. But the truth is, that very need to keep it going gives away your power. Younger women notice this instantly. And what they find magnetic about older men is the opposite, their comfort in silence. The way an older man can sit across from a woman, say nothing, and still hold the entire room. Silence, when you own it, becomes a form of dominance. Picture this: she asks you a teasing question, maybe something bold. Instead of rushing to answer, you pause. You look at her. You let the moment breathe. That little stretch of silence? It makes her heart race. Because in that pause, she realizes something: you're not performing for her attention. You're not desperate to impress. You're centered. Psychologists call this non-reactivity, and it's one of the strongest signals of confidence and emotional control. When you're calm in silence, you're showing that you're not afraid of judgment, not chasing approval, and not trying to fill space just to feel valuable. Most men are like noise, constantly talking, explaining, and selling themselves. But the man who can hold silence? He becomes like gravity. Unshakable. Grounded. Someone she leans toward without realizing it. Here's the secret: controlled silence isn't emptiness. It speaks. It says, "I'm not in a hurry. I don't need to prove myself. If you want more, come closer." And that's when the real magic happens. She starts talking more, revealing more, and chasing the connection you never had to force. That's the difference between a man who talks to impress and a man who commands attraction with nothing but silence. Flirting trick number 6: the magnetic power of playful unpredictability. Here's a truth most men never realize: predictability kills attraction. When a woman knows exactly what you'll say, how you'll react, and what you'll do, the spark fades. She might feel comfortable, but she won't feel that pulse of excitement. Especially younger women, they live in a world of constant stimulation, notifications, and men who follow the same boring script. But older men who understand the art of flirting? They know how to mix things up, not with chaos, but with a subtle edge of mystery. They know how to keep her guessing in the best possible way. This doesn't mean being random or immature. It means breaking the pattern just enough to create tension. For example, she's expecting you to compliment her outfit. Instead, you pause, smirk slightly, and say, "That's dangerous." You don't explain it. You don't chase her reaction. You let the curiosity linger. Or she playfully teases you, expecting you to defend yourself. Instead, you lean back, laugh, and say, "You'll have to do better than that." Instantly, she's thrown off, but in a way that makes her lean in. See, there's real psychology behind this. Unpredictability activates the same reward circuits in the brain as anticipation, the same rush that keeps people hooked on a story or a song they can't get out of their heads. When she can't fully read you, she becomes more engaged, more alert, and more addicted to figuring you out. But here's the secret: unpredictability only works when it's backed by calm confidence. If you do it out of insecurity, it feels like instability. If you do it from grounded composure, it feels magnetic. When you master this balance, you stop being another character in her predictable script, and instead, you become the plot twist she never saw coming. Flirting trick number 7: the Stoic depth that makes you unforgettable. Attraction can start with looks, charm, or even witty conversation, but that's not what keeps a younger woman hooked. What truly grips her is depth. See, most men around her are quick talkers. They can text fast, throw compliments, and fill the silence with jokes. But very few can make her feel seen. And that's where an older man separates himself. He doesn't just flirt for fun, he flirts with presence. He carries a kind of quiet weight, a calm gravity that pulls her in without effort. Picture this. She's laughing, teasing, and playing the usual flirty games. Then, in the middle of all that noise, you look at her, not with lust, not with need, but with calm steadiness, and ask something that slices right through the surface. What do you really want out of all this? When was the last time you felt truly free? And then you stop talking. You let the silence breathe. That silence will do more than any pickup line ever could. Because in that moment, she realizes she's not just with another man trying to win her over. She's with someone who sees through her act. Someone who could challenge her soul. Psychologically, this hits deep. Women don't just crave fun, they crave emotional intensity. The kind that makes them feel alive, curious, and slightly off balance. When you can mix light, playful flirting with sudden moments of quiet depth, you become unforgettable. Because you're not just giving her attention, you're giving her contrast. You show her both play and presence, humor and heaviness. That's what younger women find magnetic about older men. It's not the money, not the cars, not the comfort. Those things fade. It's the mystery. The calmness that only comes from having walked through storms and survived them. Seneca once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Your trials, your scars, your silence, they're not weaknesses. They're weapons. They give you a kind of energy no 20-something can fake. Not because you're trying harder, but because you've lived deeper. And that depth, that's what she'll never forget. These 7 flirting tricks aren't just techniques, they're reflections of a man who's done the inner work. A man who no longer chases approval because he is the approval. Women don't just want excitement, they crave a man who makes them feel grounded, desired, and challenged. But here's the truth most men miss: you can't fake it. You can't fake calm if you're anxious inside, or depth if you've never faced your own darkness. The real game isn't about tricks, it's about transformation. Build yourself into the man who naturally radiates presence, playfulness, and power, and flirting becomes effortless. If this hits you, don't just scroll. Reflect. Ask yourself, where am I still acting like a boy when I should already stand like a man? Because when you shift internally, the world, and women, feel it. Hit subscribe for more insights on becoming the kind of man women remember. Because in the end, attraction isn't about chasing. It's about becoming.